Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review we are looking at the Mattel 6-inch Halo line Spartan HELIOSKRILL, or HELIOSKRILL Spartan, which I have to say is probably one of my least liked good armors in the game. I mean, there are some really atrocious ones, and this one's not like that. It's just not my cup of tea, but there is a but, and that is, I think it's probably the best figure in the line. They nailed it. It looks great. The paint job's good, the armor sculpt is good, and overall just has a really nice appeal to it. And they gave it a needler, which looks fantastic. I don't know what they did. Something about all of those things makes me really like this figure, and I think you guys are going to like it too. So let's get it off the stand and take a closer look. He stands to the top of his head about 6.5 inches, not counting that little flippy thing up there. So 6.5, basically the same size as Master Chief, right around 16.5 centimeters. So pretty good size, looks pretty good. Looks like it's probably the same underbody as Master Chief. I didn't actually compare, but I'm pretty certain that that is the case. Although, however, he has different... I said although and however, that's not good. He does have completely different armor, so that is a good thing, and in this case it's a really good thing because they nailed it. I think one of the things that makes this guy look so good is the girth of the armor. Master Chief's is kind of flat and doesn't stick out quite as far. His does, and it looks really, really nice. It gives the character a little bit more depth, and then of course it has that nice white paint job, which it's pretty darn good. You know, people keep saying how this line doesn't have enough paint. Short of a dry brush and a wash, it does. It has all of the same paint that the comparable Halo line that is no longer in existence had. So I'm more than satisfied with that. I think it looks really good. Of course, all of the armor is removable, like I said, for Master Chief and for Locke, though I wouldn't really recommend it. Being that the undersuits have painted armor on them, you know, the red's on there, you're not really going to be able to add more armor and have it look right, so just leave them, I think, the way they are. I think that's more of a selling point for manufacturing than it is... Why can't I not get that peg out? We'll get that peg out. Yeah, I think it's more of a selling point for manufacturing than it is for actually playability. If you're a real Halo person who's an adult and you don't want unmatched armor, then you're not going to want to mix stuff. But if you don't mind that, then if you're a kid and you just want to throw all kinds of armor on, then that's a good selling point. And that's the thing, is the Mattel line can appeal to the younger audience as well as the adults. So I think that's okay. So I mentioned the paintwork throughout the body is more than acceptable. I also really like the paintwork for the visor. That metallic green looks really good. I mean, they can't do the translucent visors. That's understandable at this scale, and I think the way they're doing that little bit of a metallic pearly type of paint, it looks nice, and I'm very happy with that. So let's talk about the accessories. We have the needler, which has the translucent needles in it. Sure, they're not as spiky as they could be, but they look pretty good nonetheless. And we have the silver and kind of bronze metallic paint job on there. Very happy with it. And then we have the plasma pistol, which is weird because it was upside down in the package, and the peg hole for the weapons peg is on the wrong side. You can't put it on his right hip, which is pretty odd because you can only put it on his left hip and that's not where they go. So I'm not sure what happened there, maybe a miscommunication. But it does have nice paintwork. We have the purple on there, the silver, the light blue, and then the coloring for the grip as well. I'm pretty happy with it. And as far as the figure goes, we have the peg holes in the thigh armor on both sides and in the top center of his back, so you can put the weapons in either place. Now, as far as the articulation goes, the head can lean all the way back. It can lean all the way forward, go side to side. You can even lean it side to side. Really no problem posing that guy's head at all. The shoulders, same ball hinge as Master Chief. You can get them up completely horizontally. They will rotate all the way around, no problems there. You have the bicep swivel, just like you would expect. This one's a little stiff, but it's in there. It's still, like, I say still because it's the same line and they couldn't have changed it yet. I do wish we had a swivel at the lower part of the bicep, and I'll show you why once we're done with the rest of the video. But we have the double jointed elbow, which unfortunately still doesn't get us too much better than 90 degrees. So that's another thing I hope they can improve upon, but it's not entirely necessary if we can get that swivel in there. Again, we'll talk about that later. We have a wrist swivel, I almost said bicep swivel, a wrist swivel and a hinge, so that's pretty nice. We have the torso ball peg, which leans back, leans forward a little bit. This is all connected, so it is flexible, but it doesn't really allow too much leaning, but I think that's probably enough. And then, of course, you can rotate from side to side, lean a little bit from side to side. Still kind of limited as it was with Master Chief's mold, but it's not bad. The hips, they can come pretty far forward, not all the way, unfortunately, but probably good enough. They don't really go back too far, but they go all the way out to the side. You should be able to get this guy's legs posed well enough. We have our full thigh swivel. That's pretty good. Double jointed knee, pretty good range. Ends up with only about 90 degrees due to the armor back here, but it's not bad. 90 degrees is okay. And then for the ankles, we have the hinge, which goes pretty far forward, pretty far back, and then we have our full ankle rocker. So that's pretty good. And then we still have the problem, and I'm going to keep saying it until they end up changing it, just in case they only see one of these videos. I have to mention it each time. That foot armor is not a great design. We really should have a solid piece that pegs into the bottom of the foot and covers the heel, and then a separate piece that pegs into the top of the foot to finish off the armor. That would be a much more solid design. However, it doesn't really matter that much once you're standing the figure up, because they tend to, at least on this figure, hide the foot all the way as long as you don't look at it from the bottom. So it's not a big deal, at least for some of the figures. For some it is a really big deal, but I think they could solve that problem entirely if they do what I suggested. So ultimately, it's a really nice figure. If you are a Halo fan, buy it. Don't even hesitate, buy it. You're gonna like this figure. It's a ton of fun to pose. It looks really good. And if you wanted to, and I'm not saying you need to because at the price point it's not necessary, but if you wanted to add a wash or a dry brush, be mindful of those white stripes, but it will help the figure look even better. I recommend it for sure, 100%. So just briefly before we finish the video, I want to talk about that bicep swivel a little bit more. We do have the standard bicep swivel in the upper arm. So if you rotate the arm around, you can bring the arm closer to the proper double-handed weapon position, but the armor is the bicep and shoulder armor is going to bump into the chest armor. So as you can see, there's room under that elbow. If you had another swivel in there, or under the bicep above the elbow, if you had another swivel in there that you could bring this forearm around even farther, he would have no trouble holding his weapons at all. So if we can get that extra swivel in there, these figures would be even better than they already are, and I think that would be pretty fantastic. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new figure reviews or other videos at least once a day, first thing in the morning, sometimes many videos per day. Lots of content for you to watch, so make sure you subscribe, and in the meantime, keep collecting.